8472 Driggs Road. Go off script here a little bit. I wouldn't really put myself in the anti-when, but I thought it more appropriate I come up now, because I'm not going to speak for him.
What's your address again?
8472 Driggs Road. I live in Palmyra Township. My wife and family, we just decided recently to move back to Blissfield area because our oldest child was just starting school. And we wanted her to go to the same schools that we attended, Blissfield schools. We both grew up in Blissfield. My dad's Ken Brewer. Everybody knows that name. Lived here we moved to Tecumseh for 12 years. So we moved back to put our kids in Blissfield schools, attend the schools we graduated from, grew up in the same wonderful community that helped to mold us, because we're pretty happy about the way we turned out. What I didn't move here for was to be kept awake at night by the whoosh of rotor blades going. Not saying that's going to happen in my backyard, but it could. They do make noise. I didn't move here to worry about a piece of ice being thrown off a blade and hitting one of my children in my yard while they're playing outside in the snow in the winter. I didn't move here and buy a my dream house to watch my equity reduced so my neighbor can increase his bottom line. And I didn't move here to live in the middle of a huge industrial complex, smack dab in the middle of it. So all I ask is that you keep the safety of Palmyra's citizens #1, because that's your responsibility in writing this ordinance, to keep the citizens safe while allowing people to develop their land. I'm not against other people developing their land. As part of that, I would like to introduce one document into evidence this evening for consideration of the Planning Commission. I'm sure you've probably seen some of these, but I want to introduce them into evidence. Let the record reflect that I am providing the Planning Commission with a document entitled Simple Guidelines for Siting Wind Turbines to Prevent Health Risks. Document addresses sound production of the wind turbines and the appropriate decibel levels for the people that live around them. Respectfully request that the Planning Commission consider the points made by Mr. Camperman and James into its future deliberations on the zoning amendments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Paul Pasternak. I'm a resident at 11034 Yankee Road, Ragged Township. I'd like to thank the Planning Commission for the hard work on this very controversial issue. I'd like to introduce just one document to evidence this evening for consideration by the Planning Commission. The document is entitled Properly Interpreting the Epidemiologic Evidence About Health Effects of Industrial Wind Turbines on Nearby Residents. The author is Carl V. Phillips, PhD, from the Buckley Health Institute. In this document, he addresses the overwhelming evidence that wind turbines cause serious health problems in nearby residents. It also contains 3 first-person reports of people that are adversely affected by the wind turbines. And it also draws attention to the fact that throughout our country, people that are suffering from the effects of wind turbines are being ignored, or being sidelined, or being basically just ignored. I agree with Kevin Martis that the ordinance you're looking at is not very strong in protecting citizens. And I would like to respectfully request the Planning Commission revise the proposed zoning amendment to include 35 decibel dBA sound limit at property line of non-participating parcels, 50 dBc sound limit at property line of a non-participating parcel for low frequency noise, half-mile setback for non-participating parcels, on-demand lighting system to avoid constant blinking FAA lights. Also, I'd like them to consider software which would eliminate shadow flicker from non-participating properties. Someone earlier said that visiting a wind park is knowing. Well, living in a wind park is knowing. I happen to know 3 individuals I've talked to personally. The Halting family in Illinois, DeKalb, Illinois, live in a wind park.
15 seconds.
Gene Champagne, and the Alexanders in Mackinac City. How many people here have talked personally to somebody in a wind park and got their slant on issue? Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Libby Salek, and I live on 6024 Fife Road in Blissfield, which is in Ogden Township. Somebody here tonight said that they would like proof of devaluation of homes. I didn't think this would happen. I finally found out after we did all the figuring. Somebody mentioned that they're highly educated. Well, I have a doctorate, so I think I'm pretty well educated too. And I finally figured out that depending on the amount of turbines that you have placed over the life of the turbines, it equals $60 to $80 per person. That's all you're going to get in this township, which is not a lot of money for all the grief everybody's going through. I have here a letter from my mortgage company. My sister and I worked very hard over the years, raising her 3 boys, trying to purchase a home, make it work, keep our credit rating good, so on and so forth. A few years ago, we decided to retire out of the country where we felt we could be a little safer out here than living in a city and subject to God only knows what. Our $200,000 home first got devalued to $150,000 in the marketing crash. Then it got devalued to $110,000 last year. We tried to remortgage our house for 15 years at a lower rate so we could get it paid off. I got a notice from City Mortgage that because of the circumstances out here, they are devaluing my house down to $43,500, which is now below what we owe. So don't tell me that these houses won't lose their value. I have proof, and if you want to read the letter from the mortgage company, you're welcome to stop by. Thank you.
Thank you.
Darlene Southward, 8001 Pixley Road, Palmyra.
Get real close to it. There you go. If you want to take it off, you can hold it.
No, I don't want to. If you would point to me when I can talk 1 minute. Thank you. I'm not going to repeat. I'm not going to repeat what I said at the meeting in Palmyra. Just know I have not had a miraculous recovery. I do have some real specific concerns about the ordinance that you have. I've listed numbers and I'm talking fast, so listen fast. I'm concerned that on some of you, you don't have specific guidelines governing a lot of the WEFs. Instead, you've left it for the applicant to come up with what they think it ought to be. In your site plan, decommissioning plan, complaint resolution plan, you ask the applicant to do a proposed regulations. This will make it extremely difficult
because you could have lots of different regulations for the same thing. The complaint resolution process of 5.1 number 21 is extremely vague. For example, how soon will a complaint be addressed? Who will pay for any investigation costs to determine if regulations are not being observed? If the landowner is at fault, they should have to pay. If not, the township could be financially strapped very easily. In regards to shadow flicker, your definition on page 2 is inaccurate. Shadow flicker is the alternating changes in light intensity. It's not simply caused by the sun or created by the sun. 5.38 shadow flicker, there's nothing specifically outlined in the event a turbine exceeds the 30-hour per year regulation. There is equipment and software that will completely abate shadow flicker. The ordinance needs to include that these will be installed and maintained by the owner and operator. It needs to be eliminated, and you keep having your ordinance simply mitigated. 5.3H, the same section addresses possible help for those with pre-existing conditions, and for that I appreciate it, but you haven't addressed conditions caused by WEFs, and there is documented evidence of that. As I said last time, please limit the number of turbines in relationship to non-participating residents. Put the setback in terms of property lines, increase the setback to at least 4 times, and decrease the decibels to 40. I ask you to seriously consider this because your decision could cause me to have to leave my home.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Jean Sealer. I live at 7779 Thompson Highway, Riga Township, Blissfield. My son lives in Palmyra. I looked at this draft ordinance, and I haven't had it for very long. Some of you may know I'm an attorney. I do a lot of commercial litigation. I litigate property issues, and I've litigated zoning issues through the Court of Appeals. I'm not suggesting I'm the counsel to look at this for you, but I can tell you my perusal in the time that I've had it in a week causes me concern over provisions that you have in here. From my perspective as a community member, we're kind of in an early evolution of wind energy. There may be a place for it. Certainly the government has decided to fund it with our tax dollars, and we're going to pay more for our energy costs for it, so be it. But before you embrace it, think about the fact that you're on the early side, and the developing problems are being recognized and communicated in communities where it's developed, and the standards are changing. So when you put in place in this ordinance the criteria you think should be met, you should think about it erring on the side of being conservative and protective to your community. If 5 to 10 years from now, there are more statistics that come out that suggest that there can be different kind of siting requirements, you can amend it. But with the knowledge that's known now and the developing information, I think you really should look at it erring on the side of protecting the community as we're more or less guinea pigs of a new and evolving industry. Second, I sense when I read your ordinance that you looked at what Riga did, without incurring a lot of cost of a sophisticated counsel as to these issues, you try to insert some layperson suggestions that might provide some mitigating things. So we may not do as much as Riga does, but we'll have this citizen board in 21, and we'll have this citizen fee. I'm very, very concerned about your ability to include those legally and your ability to, even if you put them in, to have them be effective. These are $100 million projects. Once they are in, no one is going to stop. And if you think spending some money on an attorney to do a good job at the front isn't too much money to spend, when you think you're going to try and enforce these provisions that probably are not legally based, or if they're vulnerable, that you're not going to be challenged by someone who spent $100 million to have these things turn every day, you're really probably being naive. I strongly suggest that you get sophisticated legal counsel to look at this before you do any vote. Number one. As far as the construction, seriously consider, if you would, a dusk to dawn control on the construction process. I've been involved in hauling, including litigation. I'm fortunate when retaining a lien to all farmers' lands once. I'll probably do so again within 60 days because of all the construction problems that come with these. They work 24/7 with lights at night. The equipment will be running by your house 24/7 through the at least 6 months of construction. And on top of that, there's really nothing you can do about it. They have penalties of $100,000 per day for every day they don't meet impossible contract criteria. I know this, I represent the contractors. This is they're very sophisticated, difficult, huge projects, and they're not going to stop once they get the green light.
Thank you.